Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. Nice to have you back this morning. Today, we're going to talk about hiring and promoting in EMS. I guess I should really expand it to include hiring, firing, and promoting because, it's kind of all aspects of this topic. So, what does it take to get promoted in EMS? That's an excellent question because nobody has a fucking clue how. And that's not saying that everybody who's ever been promoted is a horrible person. No. Don't put words in my mouth or take everything out of context. However, been around the block a few times, and in generally speaking, okay, I'm putting this as a caveat, an asterisk to all the assholes out here. As a rule, no one has an answer for it because there isn't a remotely consistent paradigm that EMS uses to evaluate people for promotions. It's truly just, let's see, there we go, there's that one. Or at least that's how it's made out to be. But the reality is there's there's too many cases where people are literally sucking and blowing their way up the ladder. Literally or figuratively. It happens both ways. Because you usually have only a few different kinds of situations where people are getting promoted. I guess the first one is people getting promoted out of necessity. Saying, hey, these were the only applicants we had. We need somebody to fill the spot. Cool, so we're just going to pick someone. That's really great. You also have situations where people are given promotions out of pity. Like, oh my God, they've applied 5 times. Like we'll just give them something and then keep them down at that lowest level of management so that they're happy. That sucks to be that guy. Another situation is where, and this is probably the most common one, really. It's the people who have fostered personal relationships with management. Come on, guys. We know it's true. We know it's true. And then you have your people that are sucking and blowing their way to the top. In none of these situations are qualification part of the conversation at all. None. And are there, obviously, are there places with checks and balances in place? Yes. But sometimes those checks and balances are circumvented, and people like to play games with passing the blame as to who made the decision. Because it's a lot easier to be confronted and be like, oh, well, no, they were the ones that made the decision. And then when you go to those people, they're like, oh, no, it was that person. They did it. It's kind of funny, isn't it? It's funny how that works. But another factor in this is nepotism. And unfortunately, this happens a lot in the South. We live in South Carolina, down in the buckle of the Bible Belt, where everybody's friends and everybody looks out for each other, which is awesome. But it is a breeding ground for the good old boy system. There is so much inbreeding, figuratively, people. There is so much inbreeding in the good old boy system in EMS. It's disgusting. It is so disgusting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, I guess for those of you who do know what I'm talking about, Hot Tub Club. Anyway, that aside, you've got nepotism, which is a problem. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have people who are blood or married that work in the same agency or work close to each other. That's totally fine. But those people should not be part of any decision making that involves the other. Hands down, should not even be a question. And I would argue they shouldn't report directly to each other. They should be, on separate shifts in different parts of the agency, whatever the case may be. There should be some separation there. But when there's not that separation there is when things get kind of squirrely. And I have seen that go sideways because either literal family or just close friends get given a long leash, a lot of slack to do a lot of dumb shit that would have gotten anybody else fired. And that, my friends, is part of the double standard of EMS that has been killing us for so fucking long. The good old boy system. Let's talk about that for a second. I personally want to see the good old boy system rot from the inside out. I don't want to eradicate it right away. I want the good old boy system to have a very, very, very slow, painful exit. I want the good old boy system to feel every single wrong that they have ever done come back to bite them in the ass. The good old boy system is killing public service. It's not just EMS either. It's the fire department. It is law enforcement. They're all bad about this. This is rampant everywhere. And in industries that should be focused on quality and competence and high standards, what do? We protect our boys because they're our boys, and we're going to give them all the slack, and we're going to take care of them, and it's going to be okay. Fuck you. Sure, you develop personal relationships with people. You can't not develop relationships with people in this field. And as a leader, you should be fostering relationships with your people, but there needs to be a clear line to prevent any form of nepotism, favoritism, whatever. They're all equally bad. All bad. And really, but the good old boy system is just a symptom of having gotten away from evaluating people's merit and actually enforcing a standard. It very much becomes the rules for ye, not for me kind of situation. And you see favoritism pop up on individual shifts. We've all seen it, where there's those crews who are the supervisor's favorites. They don't run as many calls. Anytime they complain about something, they get taken seriously, and everybody else has to pick up the slack. And I'm not bitching about running calls. It is what it is. What I bitch about is unfairness. And sure, not everybody knows both sides of every story, but we're not dumb. We notice patterns over time. Isn't that kind of what we do anyway in EMS? Like, aren't we supposed to be looking for patterns, looking for trends, looking for clues to things? Isn't that like part of how we're supposed to live our, daily work life? Then why are we surprised when we start to notice it in the environment around us? We start to notice patterns. We start to notice favoritism. We notice things. But you can't say shit because you're going to get blown off. And then suddenly you have a target on your back. And you become ostracized. You're on the out crowd. And suddenly you're the problem for having brought it up. And I have seen this so many times. So many times. And to the point where it's almost funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Like, do you think we're stupid? Do you really, really think we're stupid? So, the good old boy system needs to go. And not just because, not like, it's not even like, I have some personal beef with it. No. I have no problem standing up to it when I see it. But it needs to go. Because there's a lot of people that don't have the balls to stand up and deal with it. There's a lot of people that don't know that this is wrong, or they don't know that there's other options out there. Because what do they hear from the older providers? Oh, well, this is just the way it is. You can't fucking change it. I've been in here for 30 fucking years. It's the same bloody fucking blah. Well, maybe you should have fucking done something the last 30 goddamn years. Maybe you should have fucking tried. Because I'm sorry, I've only been in this for 13 fucking years. I'm a newbie compared to a lot of people out there. And how is it that it's people like me and my generation are the ones that have to step up and say, this is fucking wrong. Why didn't you fucking do something about this? Maybe it's because we're used to saying it to our parents, because our parents, sucked for the most part. And so we're used to saying, hey, like, why the fuck did you accept this? Like, this is not okay. But, we can argue about that however much you want. The point is, there's been multiple generations of providers that should have done something, but it's too little too late now. And they're the ones who are tearing down people from trying to fix the problems now. And now we're in this weird conundrum where you have people being promoted. This is probably the most common trend I have seen, and even in people who I am friends with, that I have seen get moved up into leadership in place. Not all of them, just saying, like, I've seen this pattern. The most common character trait is people that don't rock the boat. And I'll tell you, the ones that do get promoted, that do rock the boat, they either end up turning in their shirt, or they get cut off at the knees and they're just stuck in that entry level leadership position. Again, there's always exceptions. Don't get your panties in a fucking wad, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've all seen it. And I am sure that there are amazing agencies out there that actually do the right thing and that do hire, fire, and promote correctly. I have no doubt. But unfortunately, there is such an awful trend in this industry that's the quiet minority. It's not even just about money. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Money's coming. And there's something about the power, the influence. There's something intoxicating about it that people just get this high off of it, and they don't like accountability. They don't like being told, "Hey, this is fucked up." So the sad part too is the people who would actually change stuff, the people who would actually raise the bar, are the ones who are shooting themselves in the foot by speaking up, because for every one of them, there's a handful of suckers, literally, that are willing to take a promotion and not say shit and just keep the status quo. So why the fuck would anybody who's going to disrupt things or bring accountability be chosen when there's a whole line of people that are just willing to suck their way to the top and say, cool, I'll go with whatever? Well, people on the ground level can't necessarily go and influence those top level decisions, but I think we should be putting pressure culturally on everybody on the ground level and not tolerating this behavior. And obviously, you can't reach into people's brains and flip a switch and they behave a certain way. You can't do it. It is what it is. They have to want to change. But we have given up on trying to bring any of that change. We don't have a consistent voice. So if there's any one thing I can do here, and this has been Michelle and I's goal the whole time, we need to start being the squeaky wheel. And we need to squeak over and over and over and over again. And draw as much attention to this shit as we can. Because if there's one thing the good old boy system doesn't like more than people who will oppose them, it's bad press. They fucking hate it. They can't stand to be made to look bad. So the more that you can make them look bad, wherever you are, if you are actually dealing with genuinely corrupt leadership, and I have to have that caveat, if that's what you're dealing with, do everything you can to draw attention to those bad practices, the behaviors. and address those. Drag that shit out into the light because it can't stand being seen. It can't stand being found out because they like to sweep everything under the rug. It's just so much easier to just sweep it under the rug. And when you have stacked the deck around you with people who are going to sweep it under the rug, and a lot of times because people get promoted who actually have shit on their record, so the promotion is kind of a like, hey, you play nice and we won't hold you accountable for stuff. That happens a lot fucking too. That happens a lot. And you all know it. You've all seen it. It's all there. Nothing is a secret about this. You've been in EMS for more than a year. You know what I'm talking about. So, for those of you who are in management already, I truly, like, deep down in my soul, and I'm not being theatrical and I'm not being disingenuous here. I truly hope in my soul that you feel convicted about this stuff, that you feel challenged by this in some way, and actually take some steps to change this, because god damn it, we need you. We need you to actually make some change. We need some fucking help out here. And there needs to be, obviously, yes, everybody out on the street needs to be pulling their weight and trying to affect change, but you need to in leadership as well. Don't just sit back and be like, well, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing all right as a leader. Do fucking better. Find ways to do better. Listen to people. Listen to your people who have concerns, who bring things up. Because what's been happening in EMS is not fucking sustainable. It's not okay. We are going to die as an industry if we don't fix these issues. So man up, woman up, whatever you are. Actually start making some change, challenge things, even if it costs you your position. Because if it costs you your position and you still do it anyway, then you can sleep well at night knowing that you did the right fucking thing. And that is worth more than any promotion anywhere, any colored shirt, any bars on your collar, any fucking thing. That's all I got for you guys. Be safe. Talk to you in the morning.